that they miscast me. I should have married you.
We had the best time.
You had the most beautiful rear end I could ever.
Hi, I'm Michelle Lee,
Hi, I'm Donna Mills, and
and we're
we're
not
not done
done
yet.
yet.
Not yet.
Ooh, ooh. Well, you look jolly and happy to start with.
Thank you. So do you. You are in a new place.
Oh gosh, guys, I have to tell you. Oh my gosh.
I'm
Well,
so
this
excited
one,
for you. I'm
thank you.
really so happy for you.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, it was like once you talked about your background, now somebody said, get some more lights and do better and whatever. And so you sparkled up the place, you've got flowers and everything. And they were saying to me, it's dark and dingy. Why? Because I was in a garage. Now you see, guys, that I really do have a house. We're not quite finished yet, but reminding you who don't remember, I had a flood in this house while I was in New York and everything was destroyed. So it's been a long road and very uncomfortable. But now, it's good to be home.
Oh, yeah.
Really is. And I gotta tell you, I'm in boxes still. There's boxes all over this house. Not all the phones are back and plugged in. And so you know right away what that means. I can't talk. It's like I can hardly get this thing on.
Yeah, and if
But
she can't talk, oh my God.
okay, you want to say anything else about me? Come on, give
Sorry.
it to me. Okay.
No, no,
I
no.
usually give it to you.
I know exactly.
I got to tell the audience this also because some people feel that I'm really mean to you or I'm too rough on you. Okay. But they don't know that's part of our fun.
Yes, right.
It is. It really is. I can't wait till I can ding her again. But
Yes,
right.
I know. And I actually like it. There must be
I
something
know,
wrong with me.
it's Mutt and Jeff or Ollie and whatever. Fran and Ollie. Oh, that shows my age. What little puppets. Hello. Hi, Ollie. How are you doing? Okay.
She's talking to her hand.
I am. I'm talking to my hand. I've been so lonely. But you know what? No, thank you, everybody. No, really great. But we were talking about when we started today, we were talking about Joan because yeah, our Joni.
Yeah, yep. We miss her. We know you miss her. And she's working on it. And we'll see where it goes. But we're thinking of her all the time. And
All the time.
yeah,
The
and I
time.
know you are too. So, keep up your good thoughts, your prayers, whatever. Okay? She appreciates it.
Because I don't want to embarrass him when he comes in. I have to read. I knew certain things about him, but I didn't know all this. So let me just read a couple of things about him having nothing to do yet with Knots Landing. Okay, he went to Dartmouth and Tufts. He got a degree in his doctorate in dramatic literature, and he went to London to the Academy of Music and Art. He taught at Smith College. He became a professor at Queen's College. At 2013, he got a master's degree at the Academy for Jewish Religion and became an ordained rabbi, which we should talk about. I have so much more, but I think everybody, if you want to sneak them in, this is Stephen Macht.
Hmm.
Okay, wait. I love you, darling. Before we even start to talk, I have to tell you what I just did because I was so amazed at everything you had done. I knew you did some of these things, but the kind of education you've had going here, going there, the Queen of Scotland. I don't know why I said that. It has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. But to go through all the schooling and your doctorate and then going and all the things with the arts. I mean, everything with the arts, a professorship, and then certainly at the end, your master's degree for going to what is called the Jewish religion and became an ordained.
It was a new seminary. It was a seminary. I decided sort of late in life, at the age of about 65, and they allowed me to study on and off for about 8 years. It took me, which was an interesting thing, as because as I was studying, I was also doing a soap opera, and people would say to me, "Boy, you don't have any trouble with learning lines on this soap opera." I said, "You want to know what's difficult? You try to learn Hebrew." And
Yeah.
You
that was
speak Hebrew.
I just decided I wanted to turn things around. I wanted to just do stuff for other people. I wanted to be involved where it wasn't really about me. It became about doing life cycle things, marrying people, officiating at births, bar mitzvahs, weddings, and I've married over 120 people and officiated.
Oh my.
In fact, I officiated at David Jacobs' mother's funeral.
No, did you?
No,
Oh my
it was
God.
really very. My first memories, and you don't probably know this, but my first memory of coming to nuts was when I entered the production office. His mother came up to me and she said, "You're Yanni Netanyahu. I love
Oh,
you." I mean, I had done 2 years before Radon and Tebby, but she said that and totally disarmed me. And
oh
I
my
felt
God.
immediately welcome. There was a female presence that blended into all of you. And she was so welcoming and
Oh,
so
I know.
there. You knew her. So I
Yeah.
felt immediately
And his dad. Yeah.
was really at ease. So it was not a difficult transition. Um,
Now your character, yeah, I'm sorry. The character
yeah,
in Entebbe was a Netanyahu, as you pronounce better than I could.
he
Is
was
there any relationship?
absolutely. He was Bibi's older brother.
Oh my God.
Yoni Netanyahu was the leader of that raid on in Entebbe,
Entebbe.
where they freed all the hostages that had been taken by Palestinian commandos, and that began a whole other sort of journey in my Jewish life that I really didn't know because Suzanne, my wife, and then I'll get off of this because I want to talk about you guys and
Oh, no.
what you did for me at that transition time in my career. We went to Israel because Suzanne said, "You don't know anything about your Jewish background." And she was the Jewish girl in my life. I was raised in Brooklyn, New York, and in Mystic, Connecticut, and I had no real identity. So we went there, and as soon as I arrived with my family, a year after I'd shot that Entebbe, soldiers took us off the plane and they said, "You go this way. You go into the VIP lounge." I said, "What are you talking about?" "No, you just go with your family." They ushered us in. And I learned, one says to me, "You're Yoni Netanyahu. You're 20 feet over the Odeon in Jerusalem with a Tommy gun, you and Bronson." And I thought, what? And I felt like the Jewish Robert Redford who had come to Israel in 1980. I mean, it was like, what? At any rate, I really then started to learn something about my Jewish roots, which then picked up with my journey through becoming a chaplain. I was never a rabbi. My Hebrew skills were not good enough. So I became a chaplain with an MA in Jewish studies. But I met a guy who took me to Netanyahu's grave. He asked me, I had a connection. He said, "Why are you here?" I said, "My wife doesn't think I know anything about my roots, my Jewish roots." He said, "Well, you and your wife and your family come. We're going to go to the military cemetery where Yoni is buried." So I go there and he says, "Put a stone on Yoni's grave." I did. He said, "What was that raid all about?" And I'll tell you this, then I'm going to get off it.
No, do it.
I said, well, it was the Palestinian commandos, commandeered this plane. And so Israel developed this raid onto Entebbe to save the people who had been captured. He said, no, Stephen, that's not what it was about. He said, let me tell you what it was about. He said, up until the time of this raid, you had two rights as a Jew to come back to the state of Israel and get citizenship, and we would then give you an education, you and your children. But the third right was, you remember you and Bronson were talking as the Hippo plane was circling around Jerusalem before you were let go into the raid. He said, you know what we were doing in the Knesset, in the lawmaking body? I said, no. He said, we created another right. You had the two rights, a return and an education. This third right, and he says this in front of my whole family. Don't you remember, Stephen, when they separated Jew from Christians and they drilled a hole in the middle of the wall and put all the Jews on one side and all the Christians on the other? We reserve the right to protect Jews anywhere in the world. He said that and I broke down. I said, I didn't know that that's what it was about. He said, now I'm going to walk the Bible to you from now to your family. And you see this grave? You see who he's buried next to? Yoni is buried next to Dadu. Do you know who Dadu is? David? David was his commander. But David in the Bible, don't you remember, was the friend of Jonathan, whose father was Saul, the bad king, and the prophets passed over Jonathan and Saul and made David the king of the Jews. And every time Saul, who disagreed with the prophets, tried to kill Jonathan, his friend told him about that and stopped the father from killing him. So these two, Dadu and Jonathan, are now united. Now they lie side by side together forever. He said, so I'm going to show you the Bible. And when he did that, he just pressed every button in me. And at the end of the thing, at the end of the tour, 2 weeks, he put me back on the plane. He said, Stephen, you don't have to come to Israel. Just go home and understand and do good things for all people. And he sort of handed me a torch. And by the time long after Knots Landing, by time 2000, probably 7 or 8 came around, I then went back and started to study and give myself a whole education. Enough about that.
No,
So,
I'll tell you why.
what?
I'm not going to say no, but the world today, honey,
Oh,
the world today, and what is happening with Jewish people and other peoples who are so
don't
put
agree.
upon.
I don't agree with Bibi's policy. I don't.
I don't either. I don't
Really
like the
don't.
man.
But I do believe in the state of Israel.
Mhm.
And we could get into a whole other political thought, discussion, but it's not worth it. It's in hindsight now that I have this sort of, a wealth of experience that I just want to share. And part of it colors my memory of you all. When I came on, I felt, as a much younger actor, we're looking back, and I have some notes here. Who knows? I mean, we all forget stuff. So I wrote some notes down of what I really felt.
Oh God.
I felt here it was this professor from coming home, coming back to his sister. And he was immersed in the best sociology course he could ever get into because what the matrix of what was going on with your sort of intellect, Abby's sort of scheming, and the heart of Joan those three things melded in me. I just had a ball being with you all every time. I felt it was a surprise. You were such strong women. You elicited various stuff out of me as a much younger actor. And I really had to listen a lot to who you were. You taught me a great deal about acting, about people. Um, Needless to say, I also felt that they miscast me. I should have married you.
I love you.
I,
Oh my
I got
God.
to joke that we've
Your
been
sister. It's
I
your
just felt, listen, he was too, I knew Kevin. I knew him and I really enjoyed him. I loved him. But I always felt my heart was simpatico with her. I should have married her. And I used to say to David, David, you can't miscast me. He says, that's a but I enjoyed flirting with you, Donna. It
You
was
were flirting? Oh, with Donna.
Oh,
Oh.
don't tell her. She didn't know.
when she would try to elicit my contacts in New York, my publishing contacts, it went way beyond that because I felt she was so beautiful. She was so sexy. And it just brought out of me, I've been married forever.
I know. I love her. Susanna,
I was
she's in the
married
other.
forever. But when I met these girls, here's a young guy coming out. I never knew that I had that it elicited certain stuff out of me that I just enjoyed playing off the real stage of my home. And I could flirt with
We
them.
had
It was all of that stuff. It was
doing those scenes with you, my brother. Oh my God, did we we had the best time.
it was a lot of fun. It was just, it was full of warm,
Yeah.
simpatico and humor.
A
And
lot.
and a lot of humor and a lot of satire, and especially when the camera shut down. You used to elicit out to me. You would say certain things to me that just, started me laughing. And I think I always remember that after the camera was cut, there was a lot of laughter all the time on that set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
a lot of joy. There was a lot of laughter, and I enjoyed that. I think at the time also I was probably as I was going along, a much younger actor, I was full of piss and vinegar and full of also a lot of bullshit. And I thought I was going to be a big movie star. And David used to say to me, Stephen, we want you to come back here, and we want you to maintain. Maybe you'll fall in love with Julie Cobb. And I said, David,
I
don't you?
mean,
She was a love affair of mine on there. And
oh my God.
he said to me, I said, David, you promised me that when I was going to do this part, I was a nice guy, but I had a chink in my armor. I was supposed to be a gambler, a gambler who would
Oh,
bet on anything.
Mm.
He said, Stephen, we love you as a nice guy. We don't want you to be a bad guy. We want you to be a good guy. And I, at the time, was wrestling with all of these edges in me as an actor. And I said, no, no, I got to be a good guy, bad guy. He said, Stephen, take a gift when it's looking at you. And I, as a much younger actor, said, no, I can't do it. So I didn't. And that's one of the mistakes that I made as a much younger actor, because of it just was just pure fun being with you. And I just wouldn't let that be. And part of my education later became just be here now, be a human being.
all of us.
What are you trying to pretend? Be available. And whatever comes, don't say no all the time. Say yes. And find all the intricacies within it. Anyway, that was and then we did I on Melrose Place, we had a little time together. I came back to be with you, Donna.
I,
And
what, what was that storyline? I don't exactly remember.
I was one of your business contacts, and then
Ah,
you entered a world of I don't know, some you were setting up another deal like you always did really as Abby, and we just sort of knew one another. It wasn't a strong connection, but it was just a joy to be with you again.
I'm going to remind the audience
Yeah.
for a moment how this all became.
Sure.
My husband on the show, Sid Fairgate, Don Murray, had passed away. Karen was alone and mourning. And so my brother here, Stephen Macht, came into the scene to protect me, to be with me. And one of the reasons the producers were so right about it was that it gave me voice because I had my brother. Otherwise, I was alone. I was mourning my husband. And then this guy comes and he's the most incredible, yes, incredible actor. I could go on and on with all the other things you've done, but you were an incredible person, brother to be with me. And so you took care of me. And at the same time, we so loved each other on and off. And we just laughed. We did all these comedy, well, sophisticated comedy, I'd say, or not. But we had the best time. Oh my gosh.
It was. And I'm sorry that Joan is not here because I have very fond memories of her too.
Yes.
You know, I came off the stage as we all, you did in New York, and I remember seeing Joan
Mm.
on stage somewhere.
Probably New York, maybe. Oh, you're doing, yeah.
I saw her somewhere, and my feeling was, Jesus, this is a powerful actress. She's
Oh, yeah.
power. She's a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Uh, and I felt that as well, even though she played, the emotional character was always at effect. Um,
Poor Val.
right, poor Val. But she had a heart and an availability that was you couldn't just deny it. And we did also a TV movie after that, which is a very funny little story. I remember looking at her talking about my memories of you as women. I remembered I remember Joan had the perfect tush. It was like a
Oh.
her backside was like a heart. I could only remember that. And we came later on to do this. I played her husband in a cult rescue movie. She got enthused with some kind of cult and ran off. We had one scene, a reconciliation scene where we had a bed scene together. And she used to say, "What do you remember me of as on Knots?" I said, "You had the most beautiful rear end I could ever." And she started laughing. And so there came the scene when I gave her a heart shake thing just at the beginning of the show, and it had a little when you hit it, it went like that.
Oh God.
And all of a sudden, in the bedroom scene, she had put it under her back, over back, and I was supposed to kiss her, lay her down and kiss her. And as I did this, everybody was quiet, and I put her down in the bed, and I'm kissing her, and all of a sudden you hear. I became hysterical. I said, "What are you doing?" She says, "Well, it was such a lovely present. I couldn't resist." Anyway,
You worked with Kevin on something also. Kevin
yes,
Dobson.
yes. Well, Kevin
What
and
was
I,
that? Yeah.
we did the Immigrants way back,
Oh,
and
love it. Yes,
we
I
did that
remember.
together. When I first came out, I played this one of the first mini series that was done on television, but it was done on uh, whatever the independent channels were. It never went mainline.
But everybody knew the immigrants.
Yeah, and I played Dan Lavetta, opposite Sharon Gless, who became my love affair on Cagney and Lacey later.
Oh, yes.
But Kevin and I worked together there because he was under contract to Universal at the same time I was, and we also did 2 episodes of Kojak together. when
Ah,
Look at this. The connections are amazing.
yeah.
it was just it was a good time. That I didn't know how good I had it when I was with you. But again, it's you live and you learn as time goes on. It was a growing time for me, and I couldn't have been happier. And it was so easy for me to get to work because I lived in Beverly Hills, and I went down, back the back way to the studio to the studio.
Right,
Me 10
right,
minutes to get there,
right.
and um, it was you guys created a real family atmosphere that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
it wasn't just a cul-de-sac. It was a group of people who really
Yeah. A lot of it had to do with the crew as well as the actors.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
we
the
knew that.
crew doesn't usually get, there's somebody will mention them in an award show, but I don't think the general public really realizes how important they are
Yeah,
to every facet of a film being done. It's,
it was very smooth,
And
as I
they
remember.
were laughing with us.
Yes, they did, and it was very smooth. I never felt. I felt that there was plenty of time to do two or three takes and get on to the next one. I never felt rushed, and I felt that it was a by the time I got to it, was a well-oiled, not machine, but you know what I'm saying. It wasn't jittery, it wasn't amateurish. It was just really professional, smooth.
It was
It
one
was,
of the nice things about doing that show is that I think we as actors, right, Michelle, that we didn't
yes.
feel, as the regulars and that we didn't feel rushed. We didn't, if the scene took 5 hours to shoot, they'd do it. It wasn't like you got
Well,
to
maybe
do
not
it because we
five,
got to get everybody out of here. We don't want to pay them, you
I,
know.
I
We never felt that.
but I
absolutely.
will say that to begin with, we had a lot more time when we first started Knots. And the other thing, I mean, we shot it in more days, and it got shorter days as we went on. But also, we were, for instance, using primetime soap opera, Dallas.
Yep.
They wouldn't stay. Oh, please, Dallas people, don't hate me. But they often wouldn't stay for offstage dialogue for their partners. They would want to get out and whatever. There was never any time on our show that even if we were finished an hour earlier, we were there for our partners to read offstage dialogue. And that just doesn't happen all the time. It's especially in television when people are going and going, and we always were there for each other and people felt it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll tell you just a side story that was not like that, although he had a great sense of humor. When I first came out, the first two shows that I did were Kojak with Telly, and I was under contract. And so the second one I did was back in New York. Telly never learned a line. Never learned a line.
Oh,
He had those glasses and a lollipop because I remember standing on a roof in Brooklyn with the lines pasted on my stomach, on my back, on my side, and he would he'd just go around and he would say, "How you doing, kid? It's nice to see you. Everything all right?" And he'd read the lines like that. Then he'd walk over here and he'd talk like that. He'd read the lines.
Because the lines went around.
Right. And it would just be, and the camera would move until finally on this, I played this. I couldn't get the part now because I played a lot of American Indians at the time.
I can see it.
I was the new Michael and Sarah at the time. I was becoming an Indian. So I played this Indian who, was guilty of a robbery, but was consumed with guilt. And he finally tracks me down, and I'm fishing in the Gowanus Canal without a hook. I'm that depressed, and I'm sitting on the canal embankment, and it drops to about 20 feet down. And I don't even have a hook. And the scene was he comes up, he pulls an apple box, he sits next to me, and he says, "Yes, you're fishing without a hook. This is crime and punishment, and I'm on to you," or whatever he said. And I think to myself, this time he's got to learn his lines. He just can't do it because he's got to sit next to me, and I'm in the dirt. So she strikes me and I'm in the dirt. And I'm sitting there and I hear Jano Schwark from the other side calls, Telly, you got to learn your lines. You're with a good actor. Learn your lines. And I think, no, no, it's all right. So don't say that. It'll be fine. And he looks at me, and says, don't worry about it, kid. We got this. 20 minutes. He says, I'll be back. So 20 minutes later, the car pulls up. I'm sitting there. Action. He comes, he pulls up the apple box. He sits next to me. And I look over at him. He doesn't have the lines. And I'm not on my back. And they're not on my side. And I start talking to him. And before his response comes, around the corner in a rowboat, two crew members with two broomsticks with his lines big like that pasted on the thing, and he's looking at me and he's saying the lines, and I become hysterical.
Oh my God. How could you
I
get
said,
that?
Stephen, and John was, Stephen, don't waste the time. We gotta shoot this. His time is money. And Telly looks at me, says, you're gonna be terrific, kid. Just say the words.
Oh,
The second take. That was Telly. That was,
oh my
you know, so
God.
you say spending, you know, everybody knew their words, everybody did this and that. My experience was that's why I thought you had such good actors,
Yeah.
guests. You know, Jessica Walters, I remember working with
Oh,
her.
yes.
I remember working with her.
Yeah.
On our show.
So many good actors at that
Yeah.
you drew.
One after the other, all of them.
And I think that's, I mean, you guys carried it. You women carried it. And to this day, that's why they're tuning in to this podcast.
We like him. Donna, don't you like him a lot?
The whole point
Right,
is, why
yes.
are they tuning in? Yeah, they want to see the guests who were there, who came. But that's not the reason. The real reason is because you formed the power of that, the heart, the beating pulse of that series. And
It was
hold it.
one of the few shows at that time where women were strong
Yep.
and in the foreground, not just as an adjunct. And I think that resonates still today.
It really did. It was a time when, you know, as I look back in television, it's really the women who became the leads, the real leads. A lot of you were there. The strong females came out. And also, remember, during that time, the television movie of the week became very strong over a period of time. But who were the leads? The women were the leads in all those
Yeah.
television movies.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I
It's
know that experientially because I became, in a way, and it was okay, it's second banana to the women. I played opposite Joan. I played a Victoria Principal. I played opposite. Well, you were the lead in that Melrose Place, that 3 or 4.
Melrose Place.
Yeah.
Well,
Did
You
which
were
not
on Melrose.
that spinoff that they did.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, it just came and anyway, it was a great time for for females.
Yeah. Do you know there was a time I did a pilot called The Bait. Actually, Bill Devane was in that.
Yeah,
But it didn't sell. Okay.
yeah.
And I was at an event with one of the heads of the network, who shall remain nameless right now. And I said, "Oh, it's too bad you guys didn't buy the pilot I did." He said, "Well, we couldn't put a show on with a woman as the lead."
Oh, those were the days.
He actually said that to me.
I,
Yeah. Hello.
Who knew what was going on?
I'm
But
going to tell you what I'm sorry.
go ahead. No, finish.
Kevin Dobson used to say, okay, they come to the set or people want to know about Knots Landing. They say, well, who did you play? And Kevin says, I played husband.
It's true.
That's funny.
True. No, I played
Oh,
brother.
no, yeah, our guys were just
Yeah.
the power of these actors. Just
Yeah.
putting you aside for a second, those the male leads that were our leads. Oh my God, they were brilliant.
How did you feel? Tell me about that. You played opposite. I mean, you were the leads, and you played opposite a whole range of really not only great women actors, but a lot of great male actors who
Yeah.
found their beginnings on your show and went on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
turn. I'm brain dead right now.
Well, Bill Devane is
But people who came in, that you meant people who came in that were kind of discovered by
That's right. Alec Baldwin was
Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, when he was first on the show, he wasn't known. It
no. I'm
was the
thinking there are
beginning
a
of
lot of
his
people.
career. And everybody on the show said he's going to be a star.
Interesting.
He wasn't a star yet, but he's going to be a star. He just had that thing
Thing.
about him.
The charisma.
And he was on our show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
He's so dear.
Oh, that's
He
so
wanted to do the show.
that.
Yeah.
And he loved us. It was the same kind of family love.
Yeah.
I'm
It was
serious.
very sweet.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, it's great. So it's I'm very happy to be with you. It brings back a lot of nachas to me.
Yeah, nachas. Do you know what nachas is? You
Sweetness,
go
good.
with the Jewish man. You should know what nach.
I don't think I know exactly, but I can
Nachas
guess.
means goodness, sweetness, life's uh, life's great offerings.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better. There is other nachas around that you can, but it was a time for me. I mean, I didn't have any worries about just being there. I mean, it was just a lot of fun, a lot of sweetness, a lot of the characters. You women were supportive, enticing, intellectually stimulating, powerful, and funny. I mean, what
There
do you?
was a lot of
True.
humor on
It's
the
true.
show. They wrote a lot of it in, and then we made a lot, particularly Michelle,
Yeah.
made a lot of it.
I thought you all did.
Yeah, there was
I
humor in
felt
our show.
I felt I really had to listen to who you each were in order to be there with you. I felt you knew those characters,
Yeah.
and you acted. Part of my acting you did for me. I didn't have to do much. I just had to
Wow.
listen and
Yeah,
Donna,
respond.
you were very funny at times on this show. You did have a sense of, the character had a sense of humor. You had a sense of humor. And that was so delicious about her character, right? You don't expect this woman to have that side of her. Her character was four-dimensional
Yeah,
because she also became the mother of Earth, taking care of
that
her
was the fun.
children.
I mean, when I would listen to you and you would sort of spiel at me like, this is the way it is, I would look at you and you'd see something in my eyes that said, listen, I know what you're saying. You don't think I understand who you are? And you would say, oh, you. And you walk off. And I thought, I didn't have to say anything to you. You know what you know that I don't agree with you. You're going off on the end. I'm your brother. You don't have to do me that shit. And I didn't have to say anything. I just look at you and go, anyway.
How nice that you had that kind of rapport, though. I mean, as brother and sister, as actors, you play roles, and you meet the person 10 minutes before you're going to have to do your first scene with them, and stuff like that. And but you two clicked so beautifully together.
I think
Yeah, I
it's
just love this
just
man.
personalities. I mean, I understood her. I didn't without talking to her. I just know where she came from, who she is, and by the way she handled herself, I thought, I know other women in my life who are like that, and so I don't have to correct her, and I just got to listen and say, I got it. What do you want me to? I love you.
Yeah.
I'm here to support you. And sometimes I think you're really over the hill. You can't. You're too much. You don't do it. Stay rooted, and be the mother of these children. Don't go nuts with all these other women. So
But
it was that kind of.
yeah, but you had the ability because I think because of your background and your Jewish background mostly to understand that kind of to go that deep,
It
you know?
just it was not difficult for me to do because all I had to do was to look into her soul, which was
Mm.
available. And any actor or person, a human being, would look in there and say, "What can I do for you, sis? What
I
is?"
have to mention one thing about your children that our audience might not know. You have 4 kids, right?
I have, yes, 4 children, right?
All I know is one is a musician
Yep,
and one is an actor,
yes. Our son Gabriel,
Gabriel
right?
Macht.
Bach he was Harvey Specter in the Suits, the series, right?
Yes.
And I never forget. Maybe you'll enjoy this. A little story, and then I'll wrap it up. He got me this part of Professor Gerard, who was his Harvard ethics professor, and there became a because there became
In
a
suits, you mean?
what?
In
Yeah, I
suits.
was his Harvard ethics, and I was invited by one of the characters who smelled that Gabriel's assistant was a fraud. And the Harvard ethics professor was invited to come to New York from Harvard to give a speech on ethics, and most likely he would see this other guy. And every person at this law firm had come from Harvard, and so he invited me to snuff out. Literally, I didn't know that this guy who never went to law school. He had a terrific memory, and Gabriel had hired him just to play. Just
Like a partner in one point, right?
so Gabriel, my first scene was at Harvard, and Gabriel comes to blackmail me not to come. So he says to me, he pulls me aside, he says, "Dad, before we do this, there's a director in there, but he's not the director. I'm your director. I'm your director. They let me because I know you. I know what's good about you. I know what." He says, "Now listen to me. I'm going to send you back to the makeup trailer. You're going to take off all that makeup. You're not going to act here. There's no acting. I want to see all the lines in your face, and I want you just to talk to me. I've been with a lot of great actors here, and what I find is when they really just talk and become vulnerable, it's their best work. And I know you haven't done this. There had been a spate when I wasn't working. I know you haven't done it in a while. So, the star usually gets the second close up because I'm learning lines all the time, but I'm going to take my close up first, and you'll do the second close up because you'll know your lines better and you'll feel more relaxed. So when we do it together, just talk to me. When you talk to me as my father, I've never felt more afraid, more understood, more humorous. All of the emotions will come out when you just talk to me, and I'll be able to play against that. So he said, so when the director in there calls action, I'm going to give you the lines and we'll just say it. And if you screw up or I don't think it's right, we'll just keep rolling until you get it right. So I think to myself, Jesus Christ, my son is telling me I've had 50 years in this business. My son is telling me what to do. And I thought, he's absolutely right. Who am I kidding? Just listen to him. And I did it. And at the end of the first take, he says, cut, print. He said, Dad, you're never more powerful than that. It's really good work. So I think to myself about this. I just hope.
Oh my God.
Every parent, every person, not in front of the camera, but some place gets from their child or relative or friend that gift of returning me to myself or the person to himself when they really look out for you. There's nothing at stake except your welfare.
Mm.
I felt that with my son. And I can't tell you, it's just, oh.
Okay, I'm going with you.
Yeah.
It's emotional.
So when you said, Michele, you had sons and we all experienced that, but Gabriel did that for me on that show. And it's an experience. I don't really, sure I want to do more, but that was the moment I felt the son transcended the father,
Oh,
and it's okay.
oh,
It's
Wow.
okay. I don't have to compete with it anymore. I can just be.
oh my God.
That was
What a
that was
lesson.
and to a lesser or greater extent, I tell you that because my experience with all of you was to observe you, and I got away from that during the time of knots to other stuff. Because you understand as well as I do, you do television so quickly, and all the rough edges that you have sort of get put into a little Chinese polishing machine
Mm-hmm.
because it's happened so quick. You make
Yeah.
the obvious choices and you don't really show up with who you are. But I did have experience at that earlier time of my career with all of you when I just did it more naturally than I later did it to repeat the same kind of bullshit and was not fresh with me. It was fresh at that time when I was with all three of you. So I want to
I
thank.
can't believe, I
Yeah.
can't believe how wonderful this is talking to you.
Well,
I
listen,
hope everybody feels what I feel right now.
Yeah. It's
I
lovely.
mean, our audience, it's so wonderful listening to you with
Yeah.
everything,
I
all
got
your travels and
thinking about it because that's really how I felt because I know what happened between. You be in Hollywood and you think you're God's gift to everything after a while. At least I did. I can't speak about it. And I got lost in my own ego.
yeah,
And
that happens.
lost in your ego, who you truly are, the edges of your own personality don't show up because you go for quick results. And I did that. And my son was clearing it up for me again. Not that I have, since that time, really scored again and again, but that one time on that show makes me reflect back to what goodness there was when I was with you. Anyway, that's it.
I started to cry,
No,
which made me
you should know that.
what?
You should know that was an effect that you had on me as I think about it. Because I wasn't thinking about acting, I was responding to you. I was just being with you.
No,
And
I wasn't taking it that
you had
way.
to
Oh,
tell me
listen,
that later on. That's what strength is for you, Dad. So just listen to me, just do it. Take all the makeup
I
off.
don't have to do it. I'm
Anyway,
sorry. I'm
listen,
Throw the
crying
makeup
sometimes.
off? Wait a minute.
No, what I was
Wait
getting
just a minute.
emotional about, what I was getting emotional about, it had nothing to do with your feeling for me or us. It had to do with listening to you and the love of your son and the transition you were talking about.
it was
Lovely.
he gave me in a way, as I told you, he gave me back myself.
Love it. Well,
My
you can take back yourself if you want.
Lovely.
so
You can have a self and a self.
anyway,
We love you.
I
Yeah.
thank you. I'm sorry it got screwed up a little bit because I had to I had a personal family thing to do at this time when we were supposed to do it early. And thank you for waiting.
Oh, that's okay. You're worth waiting for, honey.
Oh, I love it. Right on the nose.
I can only say good for you that you're doing this and that you're sharing and drawing out of the guests who they are because it shows also who you are. Continue to be.
Well,
Otherwise, otherwise I wouldn't feel safe enough
yeah.
to
Too
tell you.
many, I think too many people are, think it's think it's done, I think, well, no, but it's not. There's so much more. There's a lot of adventure still. And
I,
this is an adventure for us,
it's great that you have the courage and the willpower to do this and to show who
Never
you
thought I
are.
would.
We've all been, well, Michelle and I, we're always kind of pushy, so.
We
No,
weren't
that's
sure
that's
at
great.
first if it was going to work the way it's working now. It's incredible for us.
Yeah.
It really is to
Yeah,
do this.
it's really, in my own terms, what you're doing. This don't misunderstand this word. The the word is mitzvah. Now, it has two meanings. One is a good deed, what you're doing, but there's something more to it in the Jewish tradition. Mitzvah means
Hmm.
a commandment to do good,
Oh,
show
interesting.
up.
Didn't know that.
That's what it means. You are the 10 commandments are the 10 mitzvahs. You are commanded to do something, to leave it a little better than it was, or just to show up and be a person. And I think I see it as I talk to you, and I know the other actors who've been your guests have been forthcoming, and that's the reason, because you give the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Funny.
So wonderful to see you.
Thank you. No,
Yeah,
give you
We so love
and
this.
yeah.
please, send my love to Joan as well. All right.
We certainly will.
Yeah, we will.
Yes, sir.
I know she would have loved to see you, you know.
Another, we'll do it another. I'll
We'll do it another time. Yeah.
care and all the best luck.
Thank you.
And to you and your whole family.
Yes.
And to Suzanne, give her a hug for me.
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Mwah. We love you. Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks again.
Oh, it was so much fun visiting with my brother Stephen Macht on this show today. I cannot tell you.
Yeah.
It was the best thing. And let me sit a little taller because I have to read the rest of it off your chest. Oh, we had such a good time with Stephen Macht today. What a joy. Tell everybody to stand up a little bit, subscribe, and say you like us.
Yep. Yep. And I just want to say about Stephen, what a deep and wonderful man he is.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yep. You'll see.
So, are we saying,
I think we are. We're saying
oh,
goodbye.
yeah, we kind of said it, but we're saying goodbye again.
Yes. Goodbye again. We'll see you next
Bye
week.
again.
Like us, subscribe, and then we'll be here.
Yeah.